Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of From Dream to Reality. Happy Thursday to you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Nice weather out there. Make sure you get out and enjoy it today. And so, I'm your host, Sean Wilson, Sales Manager, New American Funding, here coming to you live from our Waldorf, Maryland branch. And so, today we have an awesome show lined up for you today. And my contact information is there. If you have any questions as we go through the process, you definitely want to reach out to me and answer the question, and I'll answer any question that you may have. Also, follow me on IG or LinkedIn, From Dream to Reality Live, or on Facebook, my senior mortgage advisor. You can follow me there as well. And if you haven't had an opportunity to register for today's event, even though you don't necessarily have to, we want you to register. We have a Home Buyer Readiness Pack that we want to put in your hand, and we need to know who you are and where to send it. And so, first up, I'm going to share my screen really quickly so that you can see. I want you to go to screenshot that right there, or you can scan that QR code, and it's going to take you to a registration page where you can go log in and put your information. You'll get taken to this page right here, and you'll be able to put in all of your information so that we'll know who to send this information to. Home Buyer Readiness Pack. And towards the end of our time together today, I will go through some of the things that you're going to get in that pack. One of them, a free appraisal. Do business with us, reach out to us. We want to say thank you by giving you a free appraisal. Some of our guests who are going to be coming on through the series are going to have some free giveaways as well. And so today series is called Destination Home Ownership First Things First, where we're going to be helping you determine your path to home ownership. What is your path to home ownership? Well, that's one of the things that we're going to help you understand today through our time together. Now, I have some awesome guests who are going to be on the show. I'm going to bring them on in just a moment. But first, I want to get this disclaimer out to you. The views and opinions and commentary of guests that air on our show are theirs and not that of New American Funding. Our subsidiaries, affiliates, sister companies, do your research. I encourage you to do your research and verify before taking action on any information that you hear. Okay. Um, and so let's get this thing started really quickly. I'm gonna bring up my PowerPoint for you. Let's see if we can get that on there. Outstanding. We're gonna start it from the beginning here. Nice. So again, welcome to From Dream to Reality Live, Destination Home Ownership, First Things First. And through this process, hopefully you will determine your path to home ownership. Some of the things that we're going to be talking about throughout the series is breaking down all of the loan programs. What are the minimum requirements for you to be able to get an FHA, VA, USDA, or conventional loan, or even a renovation loan? In this climate that we have, short inventory, there's some ugly houses out there that need some love. So a renovation loan is a perfect product that will help you turn that ugly duckling house into your perfect dream home. And so we're going to talk about renovation loans. And throughout the process, we're going to be bringing professionals in their respective fields: real estate agent, title company, home inspector, general contractor for home improvement, pest inspector. That we want to bring them in so that you can hear from them yourselves on what's important in their respective field. And so our series is divided up into 4 quarters. Right now, this quarter, we're in the second quarter, and destination home ownership. Next quarter, once you buy that house within the next couple of months, we want you to come back and learn how to make it pretty. We're going to give some home decor ideas, landscaping tips, and you're going to hear from professionals there. And then once you have your house nice and pretty and you're ready to pull out some of that cash flow, we're going to get into cash cow or money down the drain. Bring tax, say that 3 times fast, tax strategies and wealth building tips, and answer the question, what can I do with my home equity? Okay. And anyone that you hear, again, you want to confirm their licensing, bonding, insurance, and references. Okay. All right. And so here's an agenda. I'm not going to go through everything. Here's an agenda that we're going to talk about today. But first up, we're going to have a really brief who's on your team panel discussion. We have two guests coming in, both of them powerhouses in their respective industries in real estate and also in the title industry. So we're going to bring them in as well in a few moments. So why are we doing this? Here's our mission. Our mission is to provide information that provokes thought, conversation about what it takes to successfully achieve, and maintain home ownership, thereby empowering home buyers to take action consistent with turning their home buying dream into a successful home owning reality. So that's our mission for today. And who am I? Sean Wilson, sales manager. Who am I? I'm a native Marylander, born and raised in Baltimore City. Um, Relocated down here to La Plata, Maryland, Charles County. Love it down here. I have five wonderful children, and we homeschool them. A couple of things that I love to do in my spare time: of performance tuning cars. Right now, I'm working on my 2010 Lincoln Navigator. I installed a cold air intake, so I'm working on go fast for that as well. And I'm a percussionist. I play percussions for the church I attend. And here's a picture of what my set looks like. Here's me in action. Somebody snapped that picture and sent it to me. And here's my wonderful family. If you look me up on Facebook, Sean Wilson, you'll see that family as my main photo. It's been up there for some time now, but that's my family. I want to keep them close to me. All right. So awesome. So introduction to New American Funding, really quick. So here's our mission statement. I'm not going to read it all. You can go to that website to find out our mission statement. But bottom line, is we enable clients of all backgrounds to accomplish the American dream of home ownership. And our dedication extends to servicing because we service the clients that we originate the loans for as well. So we want to retain that relationship, be your lender for life. Okay. So and we're family owned, family oriented. And so you can hear more about this. Some accolades at the bottom. Right now, we're trending to about a little over 200,000 positive reviews. Right there, you can read what people are saying about us for yourself. Uh, and so we're big on education. That's why we're coming here today. It's one of the reasons I broke out my home buying seminar into three sections because I just didn't want to rush it. I've done seminars where we try to cram everything into one session, and there's always questions. There's always questions. And so if you want to go to Smart Start Home Buyer, you can go there. That's a website we've set up to help with the education process as a supplement to this event that you're at today. And here's some more about we're authentic. We believe in community. We deploy ingenuity, ideas, diversity, one of our pillars as well, and education. So you can read about that on our website. Some more accolades about this. I'm not sure why they gave you all of this, but what really counts is can we help you? Bottom line, all this really means is answering the question, can we help you? And so the answer is yes. All right. Who's on your home buying team? Okay, so now it's time to meet some awesome people that I'm about to bring to the stage. But first, I want you to check this out. Outstanding, outstanding. Who's on your team? I have some powerhouse professionals that's about to come on. Two of the professionals that were recorded in that video, real estate agent and title company. I have some awesome guests today. Number one, we have Kathy Austin is getting ready to come up. She is associate broker with eXp Realty. And then we have Lauren Logan. She's an attorney with Cardinal Title. So we're getting ready to have those come up. Those folks come up next. Here's the image of them. And so you're allowed to choose, and you should select your own service provider. So let's see if we can bring them on. Kathy,
I am here. Hi, Sean.
how you
Hi,
guys?
Lauren.
Hey, how you doing, Kathy? Hey, Sean.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of From Dream to Reality Live, where we're talking about destination home ownership, first things first. So, you guys represent the beginning and the ending of the home buying process, and a lot of things that go on in between. And so, just wanted to hear from you today on what do you think the best practice is for a home buyer getting started, and how should they finish? And so, Kathy, who is Kathy Austin? So tell us who you are.
Okay, excellent. Now, this can take all day, but I'm
Okay.
going to give you the expedited version. I won't give
Okay.
you the scenic route.
Okay.
So who I am, I actually am military personnel, active duty. So you see all those states there. The reason for that is because we rotate and we relocate every couple of years. So I get my license in every area, but I am a mother, a wife first, a mother. I am a business owner, multiple
Nice.
business owner. I'm an investor. I am a minister of the gospel.
I know
I
that's
have
right.
so many hats that I wear. And so I've been in this business for about 19 years
Nice.
now. Love what I do, love building relationships with people. And that is why I'm here to talk about this relationship piece and this education piece, right? But that's who I
Absolutely.
am, real estate broker, licensed in those states. Let's talk about it.
Outstanding. Outstanding. See, I told you we have powerhouses here. Lauren Logan. Thank you for being on again. And tell us, who is Lauren?
Who is
Introduce
Lauren?
us to Lauren.
So I don't think I have as many hats, maybe just as many hats as Kathy does, but I'm also a wife and a mother. I have been an attorney probably more years than I care to answer, probably about 25 years, but I've been in the real estate market probably a good 20 years and doing title and settlements and real estate. And I also a licensed agent, so it kind of melded into one, and it's been an amazing experience because what I love best is connecting with people, connecting with clients. And I love my job because at the end of every day I have a happy client. Either somebody's getting a check or somebody's getting a house, so I can't
Nice.
go wrong.
I know that's right. I know that's right. That's fantastic. Kathy, what drew you to real estate as a career?
All right. Now, with this one here, I don't know if you remember Carlton Sheets. That
Yes.
program. It was a
The
Carlton
late
Sheets
night.
program.
The late
Yep.
night guy.
And me and my husband, we saw one of the infomercials. We were stationed at Fort Detrick at the time. We saw an infomercial there and was like, man, we want to do investing. And so what I did, we decided to look into the program. We purchased a program to determine how can we invest and how can we create this generational wealth that Carlton Sheets was talking about in
Wow.
this program. And we went out and we actually purchased our first home before I got my license. It was a townhouse. We stayed in that home for about 2 years so that we can avoid the capital gains if we decide to sell. But we leased it out, moved across the parking lot to a larger in-unit townhome there while we were leasing that. And that's how we started with the investment. However, I was like, you know what? I need some insight into the market so we can find investment properties. And so I was going to school. We were on a winter break. And I said, let me go to real estate school.
Mhm.
I went to real estate school during the break, ended up getting my license, and I'm still here.
Nice. Nice. That's awesome. Carlton Sheets. I remember that. He came on late night.
He did.
Awesome. So glad to have you in the industry. You definitely do a great job there. What about you, Lauren? What drew you to the title industry as a career?
So when I got out of law school, I worked for a firm that did real property and estate planning and probate, and they also had a little title company, and I got to learn the process from the beginning to the end. And I'm kind of a process girl. I kind of like things that go in order, and it really just it really, I was drawn towards it. And when I left that firm, I then went to another bigger title company, and I just really enjoyed not only the process of it, the whole industry as far as real property, but then I just enjoyed connecting with people. So I was able to feed both sides of my soul on that one.
Nice. That's awesome. What attracted you, Lauren? What attracted you to Cardinal Title?
Cardinal Title. So I've been here for about 3 years, and I kind of came before COVID, so before it got really, really crazy out there. But I really appreciate it. It's a big company as far as we have many offices in Maryland, many offices in Virginia. And I just appreciated the cutting edge and always trying to improve what they're doing as far as the title process. Able to work with many, many agents across Maryland and DC and Virginia. So I really appreciate how they pour into trying to make the best process for their clients. So
Nice. That's fantastic. That's important. Process is important.
Exactly.
Definitely. We can't do the deal without you. So fantastic. That's amazing. And Kathy, what drew you to EXP?
Okay, short version because I always have a story, right? So I was with some wonderful companies, even from the beginning. I think most brokerage companies, or even all of them, are great. You can learn and you can flourish wherever you are planted. However, I was at this place at this point in my business where I was in the multiple markets, and one of the companies I was with, they had a franchise fee, and also, they had the royalty fee and the cap, and I had to pay that for all of my different market centers. So
Wow.
this was a business decision. I decided that, you know what, I'm going to step out of one of my, high profile role that I had at that organization, and I'm going to make this decision for my business. And in doing that, I decided to go over to EXP because I love the model for one. I
Mhm.
love the fact that collaboration is one of the core values. So we collaborate together. We share. We don't see each other as competitors.
Mhm.
We actually see each other as, we're all business owners together for this organization, and we want to empower each other. So if that person is successful, we're all successful. So I made that decision because that was like $100,000 a year decision that I made for my
Wow.
business,
Wow.
and it worked, and I love it, and I'm coming up on 5 years. Love it,
Nice.
love it, love it, love it. So that's how I made that move over to
N-
XP Realty.
Nice. Adjustment sometimes is important. You can just imagine how much you would have spent if you hadn't made the move. So good for you, Kathy, for making that move. Why do you think home buyer education is important, Kathy?
All right. So we probably have heard that, information is powerful. I like to flip the script because we know that there is a lot of information that is out there, and we know that did we lose each other?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Just see who's on your team. So there's a lot of information that is out there, but everybody is not using that information. So I like to say that understanding the information and then putting it into practice, that is what propels that is why education is so important. You have to get an understanding, and then you have to act upon the information that you are understanding. Now when it comes to education in for the home buying process, I think this right here is where people are going to learn exactly what it takes to get around this hurdle for some, and others to just be able to generate that wealth and leave a legacy, because we have seen far too many people that have not been able to participate in this arena. And that shouldn't be the case, because we know here we have a lot of information available. We have Google University, YouTube University. So a lot of information is readily available, but people don't put that into practice. So I believe that getting the information, understanding exactly what it looks like, it's like a GPS system, to help you to get from where you are to where you want to be. And just like we call this, from dream to reality, destination home.
Nice,
So
nice.
that is why that is important.
Outstanding. So in your needs analysis, what are some of the things that you are analyzing or talking to your clients about?
Right. So with the buyer consultation, because all of these three things here, the needs analysis, the search tools, the home tour, we talk about in the buyer consultation. And typically when someone comes over to me, either from the lender, or if the client came to me first and I directed them to the lender, they get their pre-approval. We have this initial consultation to talk about exactly what it is that they are going to be looking for. We identify their location. We are identifying their price points. We're identifying the square footage of the home, whether schools are important. We're identifying the features of the home. We are looking at all of those things to see what work. We'll look at their timelines. So we know exactly what is going to work for them, so that we are tracking, that we are on the same sheet of music. We are setting the expectation for the client there. And typically the buyer consultation will be a 30 to 45 minute conversation that we're going to have. And we go over all of the tools. We go over what the pre-approval will look like, even though I know the lender, you, Sean, you handle that, but we're just reinforcing what the lender is going to be looking for. We reinforce, hey, those files that they ask for, create a file and put it on a file or a folder on your desktop, just in case they need information. You can just pull it. It's easy. There's no frustration. There is no complication. So we just go through everything thoroughly just to set that expectation for the needs analysis. Now, once we identify what the client is looking for, their timelines, we know we have that pre-approval letter, they're ready to go. We talk about those search tools. I set them up with, we're a tech company. We're a high-tech company. Look, we got Google, we got all these other platforms where you can actually pull out your phone, take a look and see what is happening. So we set them up with specific search tools like HomeSnap, our website, any other KV Core, all of the other tools. There are probably about tons of them, so that they know exactly where to look for the properties. And then we go over these other tools that they may be doing, like a search on their own when they're driving in their communities and they see a for sale by owner sign. They know exactly how to approach that scenario, where they're going to come to me, bring me the address. We're going to find out all of the information that they need, give them to make sure that it falls within their criteria, and we're good to go. And then once we're done with that, the search tool, we know what that looked like. They're on an automatic campaign where the properties are automatically flowing into their inbox. And typically they have a interactive type collaborative center where they can mark, highlight, and select, and let me know when they're ready to go out for the home tour. Now, we get ready to go out for the home tour. I already set the expectations here in this consultation here, that when we're going out, we're going to be in someone's home. We know that we're looking for, at least in this highly competitive market, it used to be, I want you to have a top 1, 2, and a 3. Now I want you to have top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Maybe a 6, right?
Maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Because the market moves so fast. So they know that when we're going in, we're looking at these properties, we're walking through. I already set the expectation. They know that sometimes we have video and audio surveillance. So we're going to say all nice things about the home while we're walking through. Once we get outside, we will have that conversation at the car or at the next property before we go in. Hey, where does, this is your first property you looked at. So right now, this is your number 1. But what did you like about this home? What did you not like about this home? What are your questions about the home that we just toured? And then we go into the second home. They do the same thing, same process. We talk about it. And is this number one or is this number two? And that's how we flow, so that we have a strategic order. We know that something happens with this one because on occasion the property can go up on the contract while we're touring the home, right?
Yes.
And so we need to just have backups and then backups to the backup, right?
Absolutely.
And that's how it works, because everything moves fast in our industry. But that's the
Yes.
home tour, and we wrap up there. And typically, I just wanted to talk about the buyer consultation here, because in the next segment we'll talk about what happens once you identify the property that you love, and we can go there. But I just wanted to cover what that consultation will look like. It should be really, really thorough. The key thing is having a great needs analysis. And I want to share a quick story about that.
Yes.
On the needs analysis, because I'm a person, I have so many stories. You all probably have seen some of the real estate shows. Like, I'm just going to use this one. Not that it's a bad thing, but like House Hunters, right? And they're walking in the beginning, they tell you what the client is looking for. And then they get to this property and the client is saying, why did they bring us to this property here? This right here is outside of our budget, is not what we were looking for. And I'm always thinking like, wait, why did they do that consultation? Because if they identify what they need, why are you wasting time looking at properties that they don't want to see or that falls outside of their budget? So the buyer's consultation is very, very important, right? And I'll just wrap it up there. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
That's awesome, Kathy. It seems like you have a thorough process, especially in the beginning, to make sure that you identify the needs of the client, what their tolerances are, and where they want to live. They're ingredients to the perfect home that's for them. And so I appreciate you sharing that. Lauren, let me ask you, why do you think home buyer education is important?
This is the biggest purchase that most people will ever make in their life, is buying a home. And going into it can be a very daunting process, a very scary process, from the standpoint that, you're getting information from a whole lot of people and telling you, sign here, do this, do that. And if you don't understand and know all of the steps and know all of what's to expect, or what each component is going to bring and what each component does in the process, that can be very daunting. And I don't like people feeling crazy or feeling like, oh my goodness, you guys are just asking me to do all this stuff and sign all this stuff, and I don't really understand. So I love, from the standpoint now, when we get to the title closing, you do everything that Kathy has said. She's gonna get you a house. She's gonna get an offer signed and to get a contract ratified. And when it comes over to me, then I just want to add to that education. I want to make sure that you understand every part of the title process that we're going to be taking you through, because what we do is make sure that the house that you're getting ready to buy, is doesn't have any liens on it, it doesn't have any judgments on it, is ready for you to be able to purchase and give you good and marketable title. So the title closing process can be a little daunting, because you're getting a lot of information from us as a title company, from the lender. We're all melding it all together to get you to that closing day. So the more educated that a home buyer is, I think the less stress that they will feel as they're going through each of these steps, so that they know what to expect. They know exactly what they are doing as far as what they're reading or signing or agreeing to. That just makes it, that to me makes it worth going through things like this, is in educating buyers, because I think they also have, as Kathy said, knowledge is power, and having the knowledge of what you're doing, you can make an educated guess rather than just blindly going along with what somebody else is telling you.
Outstanding. So tell us, I see one of the items here you're talking about, owner's title insurance, and there's lender's title insurance as well. And I hear customers sometimes ask questions, why do I need that? Why should I? That's an extra cost. Can I go without that?
Right.
And I'm not in the title business, but I understand that if something were to come up, it could be an issue if
Mhm.
it's not covered. Talk a little bit more about title insurance and why that is important.
Exactly. Sure. So there's two types of policies. There's a lender title policy, and there's an owner's title policy. Title insurance is just like any kind of other insurance that you might get, homeowner's insurance or car insurance. It just insures if there's a problem that comes up. The lender requires each buyer to purchase a policy for them. So they're like, you know what? We know that things
We're
can
not taking no
happen
chances.
so we're gonna make you buy a policy for us. The owner's policy, however, is optional because they're like, if you don't want to cover yourself, that's okay. A lot of buyers sometimes thinks, hey, you know what? That's an extra cost. I don't need to buy that. Why do I need that? However, what I've said to clients before is if the lender thinks it's important enough for you to purchase a policy for them, then you may want to think about purchasing a policy for yourself, because if something were to come up, and a lender's policy covers a myriad of things, but mainly it is if there's an issue on title that wasn't discovered or something that happens, that covers the lender for the loan that they have given to the buyer. Well, the owner's
Mhm.
policy protects the owner for the huge purchase price that they just put down for this house. So if
Mhm.
a person doesn't purchase an owner's policy, and it's a one-time fee, it's rolled into your closing costs, it is for the entire time that you own the house.
Nice.
If you do not purchase an owner's policy, you run the risk if something comes up or if something wasn't discovered. Now, we as a title company, of course, do a title search, but sometimes when we go, things get missed, or even things may happen in the future that might affect your title. So an
Mhm.
owner's policy is just, I can't stress it enough as to how important that is to have, because it does protect your investment, just like any other type of insurance protects you.
Have you come across an instance where you guys have completed the title insurance, title search and everything, and it came back clear on everything that your investigator was able to pull in public record, but then all of a sudden something popped up later on, like, hey, I got a legal will for this house. Get out of my house, because my great grandmother willed it to me.
Right.
Has that ever happened?
Well, one of
Or
the
have you
things
heard
that
stories about that?
I definitely have heard stories about that. And one of the recent things that we had was we found out that a deed was signed fraudulently. So it was in the chain of
Mm,
title, a prior deed. So that created a huge title problem. And if that um, purchaser had not purchased title insurance when they bought the house, that would have been a disaster as far as, wait a
wow.
second, I may not own this house, and now you're telling me that I'm going to have to, I can't sell the house. So yes, title
Wow.
insurance, you need it. You don't need it until you need it.
Don't
And
need it
when
till
you
you need
need
it,
it,
right?
it can become critical to whether or not you can either sell a house or, go forward with the process. So it is, I can't
Outstanding.
stress enough, buy the owner's policy.
Nice, nice. Outstanding. So you guys have been fantastic. Thank you so much again, Kathy Austin of EXP and Lauren Logan of Cardinal Title. You guys are awesome. Looking forward to having you come back again, either next month or in June when we wrap it up and we take a deeper dive into what both of you do, in your respective fields. And any closing thoughts from either of you?
Go ahead,
Well, I
Kathy,
want,
you can go.
yeah, actually, before I close, I wanted to share a story about the title, because we were working with a new construction builder, and the client had closed on the home, and a lien was placed against the property from one of the contractors that was servicing those buildings there. And
Mm.
had, just like Lauren said, had the client not had that policy, the owner's
Mhm,
policy,
mhm.
they would have had to deal with trying to clear that lien. But the
Mhm.
builder, they did what they needed to do, and they found out in hindsight somewhere that someone just forgot, the check went to the wrong place. So they were
Mhm.
able to clear it up, but it was still a lien against the property for several months, and it was a
Wow.
headache trying to go through the litigation to try to clear it up. But final thoughts, that's what you asked for. First, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure being here. I'm looking forward to coming back whenever you invite me back there. But what I want the viewers to take away is, whoever your professional is, just make sure you know exactly what that process is going to look like, that you're connected and you ask the right questions when you're dealing with a professional there. And then once you're in the process, trust your professional to help you to get to your destination. Just like this is called From Dream to Reality, Destination Home. We're all working together as professionals, the lender, the title company, the realtor, of course, everybody that's involved. You're the mutual client, and we're all working together to get you to that destination. So hope that helps. That's it.
Outstanding, outstanding. And you can reach Kathy Austin here. Her telephone number 210-260-4816, or her email is kathy.austin@exprealty.com. So outstanding. Any closing thoughts, Lauren?
I just want to say that I look forward to working with clients that are viewing right now. One thing that I want to tell them, ask questions. If you have a truly professional real estate agent or title company, they're not afraid of the questions. They want you to ask questions because they want you to know what you're getting ready to do. So ask questions. And if you find someone that, doesn't like it or doesn't answer your questions or doesn't get back to you or communicate with you, then, trust your gut and say, you know what, this may not be the real estate professional that I need to work with. So I welcome questions. I applaud them because I know that means that buyer is educating themselves on the process and that they're going to be fully informed as they go through it. So
Outstanding.
thank you so much again, Sean, for having me.
Thank you for taking time out to join us today. You can reach Lauren direct at 240-493-8125 or email Lauren, Lorryn, I'm spelling because it's not it's
Not your
usually
typical way.
not typical, right? At cardinaltitlegroup.com. You see it there on the screen, and they would be more than happy to answer your question about the home buying process in their respective fields. And so there are some incentives that are going to be associated with their services included in the Home Buyer Pack. And we'll talk about that toward the end of the series. And so with that, guys, you guys have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thank you, Sean. Bye.
Outstanding, outstanding. So that was fantastic, guys. We're going to continue on and talk about homeowner stewardship. And so now that you have contracted the house, you've chosen your title company that you're going to use, now it's time for us to kind of talk about in the beginning, you want to have this stewardship mentality. Here's what I mean. Stewardship primary responsibility as a homeowner in terms of that structure is taking care of and maintaining the systems of the house, right? You want to make sure that you're structurally the structural systems, the foundational systems, and a lot of these things you're going to be experiencing, at least in your home searching when you're going out with Kathy and you're looking at the house. Have these things in mind. Is it structurally sound? What is the foundation? Is there cracks at the lower part of the exterior of the home? Heating systems, cooling, electrical, flooring, plumbing, well and septic, landscaping, and roofing systems. You want to be thinking about this. The reason I want you to think about these things in the beginning of the process, maybe even before you go out and look at that first house, it might be good to take a look at it then, because I want to encourage you to, as a part of that stewardship, start counting the cost of maintenance of these items after your warranty has run out. You're in the house 2 and 3 years. I'm encouraging you to think ahead right now and build your professional company Rolodex. So all of these systems, eventually they're going to wear out and they're going to need repair. They're going to need replacement and that kind of thing. And so I want to encourage you to start building your professional Rolodex. You want to add insurance companies, warranty companies, roofing companies, structural foundation companies, engineers, electrical, heating, cooling, flooring, windows, siding, plumbers, well, septic, sewer, landscaping, pavement, and pest control companies. You want to have these numbers already in your Rolodex or at some point before you close. So if any of these things were to malfunction at some point in the future, whether it's next year or 10 years from now, you don't have to panic. You just go to your phone and you reach out and you make the call and get your home fixed. And some of the areas where you can kind of identify the reputable contractors in their respective fields, let's talk to family, talk to friends, talk to coworkers. Now, we don't endorse this mobile app, but it's a great app to use. The Meetup app, there are tons of real estate investors that are on this app, as well as the home improvement and other contractors that are in these fields are on this app. You can reach out to maybe a real estate investor and ask them who do they use for different services that are listed here. You can also go to local REIA groups. That stands for Real Estate Investment Association. Angie's List is a great way. Angie does a little vetting as well. And then your realtor. When you talk to Kathy, ask her who does she recommend in any of these fields. And once you have your list, what you want to make sure that you do after you create your list is confirm the licensing, the bonding, insurance, and references. You want to make sure that your list is solid and you have someone who has your best interest and will do a fair and equitable business, right? Standing. Awesome. So now let's get into the next segment: renting versus owning. So I hear this conversation going on right now, especially since the home pricing has increased and interest rates have increased, and so homeowners or prospective home buyers are thinking about, wait, should I really stay in my house since I'm already paying 1,900, and if I buy that house I was looking at, it's going to be 2,200. Should I make the leap? And so we're going to take a look at that real quick. So this next screen will kind of pick your rent on this screen. I want you to identify which one of those is which rent are you paying. If your rent is not represented on this screen, then you take your rent, whatever you're paying right now, plug it into your calculator, and how many years have you been there, right? So you multiply it times those months. So if you've been there 5 years, 5 times 12 is 60. So divided by, or then you multiply the 1,600 times 60 months. So if you've been there for 2 years, you've already paid, if your rent is $1,600 a month, you've already paid 38,400. So just imagine if 2 years ago, you came across me and I encourage you to maybe consider, if you're buying now and you don't have money, you want to save, maybe consider moving in with family. And let's say you did that and you moved in with family and you stayed with them for 2 years, helping them in their home, and you were able to save that same 1,600. You would have $38,000 for your down payment. If you've been there 5 years, 96,000, and so on. And so I want to encourage you, because what's happening here is that the landlord is getting rich off of you, and there's nothing wrong with them getting rich, but it would be even better if you were building into your own wealth and your own legacy for your family, right? And so let's take that same $1,600 example and apply it today. $1,600. This assumes you're putting down 20%. So approximately $1,600. We're saying is going to buy approximately a $255,000 house. Well, in today's market, probably going to be a little less because the interest rate's a lot higher when this slide was created. And so you can kind of see the correlation almost of what rent you're paying now and how that translates into a possible mortgage payment. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in our time together. So let's determine what the benefits, or discover what the benefits of home ownership is. We're smoking now. So financial health and wealth. You're able to build wealth with equity. You possibly may be able to have an opportunity to use that equity in other investments later on. There may be tax advantages available to you. Increase your home's value through renovation and upgrade. And then just the American dream of home ownership just that pride that you have of owning your own space on the planet, right? Let's hear more about it. Outstanding. So in that pursuit for home ownership, let's take a look at. I often get this question: what is pre-approval? What is it? Should I get pre-qualified? What's the difference between the two? And I just want to encourage you to get pre-approved, and here's why. So number one, your application, loan application is going to be required first. That's the number first step that you want to take in both of these scenarios. Under the pre-qualification, however, it's basically a conversation about employment history, income, assets, general questions about credit score, credit history, things like, have you been late in the last 24 months, late in the last 12 months? You have any late now? That kind of thing. Credit report may or may not be pulled under the pre-qualification category. And then there's a general conversation that takes place about loan programs, interest rates that may be available based on what you shared, closing costs, and then a pre-approved pre-qualification letter is issued. Um, Under the pre-approval, it just takes that just a step further, and it's not only having a conversation about these things, but it's requiring your current 30 days pay stub, your W-2s or 1099 forms for the last 2 years, 2 years personal, federal tax returns, and if you own a business as well, or you have it like a side business that you're running, and business returns for self-employed as well. 2 months checking and savings account statements, 2 months or current quarterly retirement statement, including stocks, mutual funds, CDs, and that kind of thing. And then in this case, a conversation takes place as well about loan programs, interest rates, closing costs, and the loan profile is ultimately run through what we call the automated underwriting system. This is a system that houses all of the guidelines that are issued by the entities that are responsible for your loan. So, for example, government loans would either be FHA, Federal Housing Administration, VA, Veterans Administration, USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and then conventional, which have two entities under that umbrella, would be Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. All of their guidelines, with the exception of VA, are in this automated system. The VA has a separate system that does the same thing, but it's separate. Excuse me, not VA. USDA has a separate system. They call it GUS, and it does the same thing as this automated underwriting system does. And then ultimately, what the finding has to be an approved eligible finding, right? An approved eligible tells the loan officer that, okay, based on this information, that we can do a loan that you have just entered. whether it's 300,000, 400,000, $1 million, whatever, we're able to do the loan because we have an approved eligible finding. And then because we have the documentation that supports the information that was input in the system received from you, Mr. Homebuyer, Mrs. Homebuyer, that's a valid pre-approval. And then we issue a pre-approval letter. Incidentally, that's the only way that I would issue a pre-approval letter is if this second option, actually for me, it's the first option. Yes, we definitely have conversations about your income, your assets, and those kind of things. We talk about loan programs before you fill out the application, but a pre-approval letter is not issued until we have the documentation that supports the information in the application, and then you can feel pretty confident that you can move forward to make the purchase. Now that you have your pre-approval, the documentation that are required, and I have here a note here about the 3 of the 4 C's of lending are being considered in this step. Your capacity to take on new debt, which is that mortgage payment, the capital, what cash do you have in reserves and to apply towards your down payment and closing costs, and what is the condition of your credit history and what are your credit scores. And so 2 years historical income evidenced by your tax returns, right? Monthly income evidenced by your W-2s, your 1099s, your pay stubs. And incidentally here, I want to make this note. If you're on a housing voucher, you can use that to purchase. We consider that as income. And so there are more that goes along with that. And so just reach out to me and I can explain a little bit more about how you can do that. Assets for closing, include savings, retirement, down payment assistance, if that's going to be necessary, gifts from family, and any seller assistance. And of course, in this market right now, it's kind of transitioned since the pandemic. Not not too many sellers are offering assistance, although I have seen it during this pandemic time over the last 2 years still, but not as nowhere near as it was before. Credit score, monthly debt obligations, and that kind of thing are all considered. Now, there's a 3-year expectancy for certain types of income, such as alimony, child support, and certain Social Security benefits. When I say certain Social Security benefits, I'm talking about if you're receiving money on behalf of a loved one who is an adult because of whatever condition that they may be experiencing, and that if that condition is permanent, there's an expectation that those funds are going to continue for 3 years, and so they can be used as well. All right. Now, 2 levels of being approved here. You have your loan officers, the first level, and then you have the underwriter is the second level. Okay, and both of them will consider the same information, except for the underwriter will take the additional step. And if the loan officer is really sharp, it shouldn't necessarily be additional. It should just be the same step, right? Of performing calculations to confirm the income is accurate, to confirm that the assets meet the minimum requirement, those kind of things. The employment history is the required length of time, and those kind of things. And so underwriters take it to the next level and verify all of that information and making sure that your loan is closable. Okay. And they also, in certain instances, will manually underwrite. With New American Funding, we do manually underwrite our loans if we need to. If the loan makes sense and we just can't get an automated underwriting approval, then the underwriter will look to see if it can be manually underwritten as well. And then most cases, in every case, outside of manual underwriting, there's an approved eligible finding that occurs. Okay. Now, in this competitive market, New American Funding, and we've been doing this for years now, that we will offer a credit approval up front without a property, right? So most lenders are doing that now. Credit approval is just simply a fully underwritten file. I mean, the underwriter has done everything that they would normally do in a loan file, except there's no property, there's no contract, and there's no title work that's included in that file. But everything else is completed, including the verification of employment, verification of rent, assets, and those kind of things. And then what you end up with is a loan commitment letter, which is the lender's written confirmation that based on what we've received so far, that we're going to do this loan. Much more powerful than just a pre-approval letter, right? And so inquire about that as well. That's what you want in a competitive market. You want a loan commitment from an underwriter. It's a couple of extra steps. We can do that with a full file within 48 hours, usually 48 to 72 hours from receiving a full file, minus only the title work, the appraisal, and the property, and you'll have your loan commitment letter. All right, now that you've been pre-approved to buy that house, congratulations. Here's some things you want to look out for. You want to be very careful to protect that pre-approval. You don't want to go out and buy a car. You don't want to open up any new debt. You want to make sure you're paying things on time, being extra preparatory regarding your credit, right? And so you want to make sure that these things are getting in there on time and those kind of things. And so I had someone, even though I give this flyer out to every client with the pre-approval letter, and I make a statement in the email, and we have a conversation about some things that they shouldn't do and they should do to protect their approval status. I still had someone go out and buy a car. And that car wasn't discovered until later in the process. It wasn't disclosed up front like they should have. And fortunately, it didn't affect the debt to income ratio too much because the loan was structured well below the debt to income ratio ceiling. So we just had to slow the loan down, verify that they still qualify, and then move it forward. So, but you definitely don't want to do that because that gives it creates a lot of stress for everyone who was involved in the transaction. So let's hear some more about that. Outstanding. So now we're going to segue into the four C's of lending. We're going to take a deeper dive into what it takes to get pre-approved and what lenders are looking for, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for today. So part of the four C's of lending is considering to kind of put yourself in the lender's shoes, right? Looking at your situation, but put yourself in the lender's shoes. It will help you understand how lenders think and determine credit worthiness. Will help you understand that credit worthiness it describes the state or condition of your overall credit and finances as well. Uh, inform you, inform you that lenders examine four primary factors to determine your credit worthiness, and they're called the four C's of lending, right? So, capacity, your ability to absorb new debt; capital, what kind of cash reserves you have; how much; credit, what's the condition of your credit; what's your credit scores; and collateral. So, those are the things that we kind of look at. And so from the very beginning of this process, um, we're taking a look at your capacity to repay the loan. Do you basically have enough money to make the monthly payments on that loan, right? And we review your 2-year history, as we said before, your W-2s for the past 2 years, and your current 30 days pay stub. These items help us to determine what your qualifying income is, right? Qualifying income is evaluated on number one, the source of the income, the length of time that you've been receiving it, it's 2 years is required, and how long that income is expected to continue. It's generally accepted that if you've been working for a job for 2 years or more, that that job is going to continue. It becomes into question, and we may need further clarity on it if you have multiple jobs in the last 24 months, two, three, four, five jobs in the last 24 months. On the surface, that looks like it's unstable. It's an unstable situation. But further conversation may reveal that you're a contract employee and that your contracts are short term, but you've been consistently working contracts for the last 10, 15 years. That's a different story. So having that conversation with your loan professional will help flush out those those details, and help you put together a nice letter of explanation to explain it all, to make sure that what we're looking at is really a consistent 2-year history, although it's spread out over multiple employment opportunities. All right. We also determine a percentage of your qualifying gross monthly income that is needed to cover the house payment, and compare this percentage to the established guidelines of the loan program that we're applying for, that we're looking at. This percentage is called housing expense ratio or front end ratio, and it's based on the total house payment. And so we can give you an idea of how that is determined. So if you have your calculator out there, have your calculator. So let's just assume really quick. Let's just assume, and bring up my camera there really quick. Let's just assume that you that the mortgage payment is going to be $1,500 a month. And let's say that you gross $5,000 a month. So what you would do is you would take 1,500, plug it into your calculator, and then you would divide it by 5,000. And that would give you a 30% debt to income ratio. So I'm not sure if you can see that. 30% debt to income ratio, not debt to income ratio, excuse me, housing expense ratio. And that's how the system does it automatically, but that's a manual way that you can do that. All right. And your housing expense payment is broken down into basically four categories: principal and interest, taxes, property taxes, homeowners insurance, or private mortgage insurance on a conventional loan, or mortgage insurance premium on a government loan. And then if you're looking at a home that is going to include that's in um, a homeowner association community, or a condo, there's also a condo fee or a homeowners association fee that is also included in that calculation. Although you don't pay that directly to the lender, you pay it to the association themselves. We calculate that as a part of your approval process, because that is a part of the housing expense. All right. So hopefully that's understandable. Now, in general, housing expense should not exceed 28%. That's kind of an industry standard number. I've seen them exceed that, and the home buyer still be fine. But in general, that's a safe number. And in this case, in this example, we were at 30%. Okay. Now, in addition to the housing expense, we also look at your reoccurring debt liabilities that show up on your credit reports, like car payments, student loans, credit card payments, personal loans, alimony payments that may show up on your pay stub, things like that, and other debt that you are obligated to pay that shows up in the documentation that we receive. In addition to these liabilities that show deductions on your pay stub are counted as well. Child support, garnishment. Those things are also counted as a debt item. And so the DTI, or debt to income ratio, does not include household expenses such as utilities, auto insurance, daycare, food, cable, cell phone, things like that. I'm going to give you a document in the home buyer readiness kit that'll allow you to document all of your expenses, both the debt that can be paid off, as well as the expenses that are reoccurring, that you identify that will continue on after you purchase, so that you can do on yourself the debt to income ratio calculation, and determine your ability to purchase, and make sure that your mortgage payment is going to fit into your debt structure. Debt to income ratio is the sum of all recurring debt payments on your credit report plus the new house payment, estimated house payment, divided by your gross monthly income. So let's take our example again, really, really quickly. In this example, so we're making $5,000 a month. We're using that amount, and we already have $1,500 for your mortgage payment. So let's say that all of those items that showed up on your credit report, let's say that they total everything, including your car, $800. So we take $1,500 estimated household payment, you add $800 credit report payment to that, and you come up with $2,300 a month in debt, and housing expense. You're making $5,000 gross a month, and mind you, here's another tip: lenders or the mortgage industry, we consider your gross monthly income. You, Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer, you consider your net income. And I want to encourage you to apply these formulas to your net. What that will ensure is that your mortgage payment fits in your current debt structure, or it will reveal that something needs to be paid off. Okay, so that's really important. I've seen homeowners get in trouble because they start out tight in their budget, and I'm putting it nicely as tight. So let's take $2,300 in our example. We divide it by $5,000, and okay, one second, hit equal, then divided by 5,000, and we're going to get a number that is our total housing ratio. So I'm not sure if you can see that. So you take your estimated monthly mortgage payment plus the debt payments, not balances, debt payments that show up on your credit report. You add them together, and then you divide that total by your gross monthly income. But I'm encouraging you to use your net income, and you'll get a debt to income ratio. So the debt to income ratio in this example is 46%. Now we can do that loan. And however, there's some home buying assistance programs, if you need that have a 45% debt to income ratio cap, which means that if this is your scenario, then we need to make some adjustments either in purchase price or pay some debt off, or maybe perhaps buy the interest rate down a little bit to bring the monthly mortgage payment down, or bring your debt liabilities down, so that we can get your debt to income ratio under the 45 or under. So hopefully that's helpful. In general, the debt ratio should not exceed 36%. Now, most of the loan programs, FHA, VA, USDA, and conventional, they will allow you to exceed the industry norm of 28/36. They'll allow you to exceed that with compensating factors. Compensating factors may be longevity on the job, excellent credit, cash reserves, usually anywhere between 1 to 3, or maybe up to 6 months cash reserves left over. And so cash reserves is just simply the monthly payment, estimated monthly payment that you're going to be paying on that mortgage times the reserve number that might be required for you to get approved. So it might be 3 months. So if your payment's 1,500 times 3, right? Or if it may be 6 months, it might be needed 1,500 times 6, and so on. Outstanding. All right. So included in the home buying readiness kit is going to be this debt tool that allows you to document all of your debt in one place and your expenses, put down the balances and things like that, and how to pay, how much it costs to pay those items off, and you can kind of track that and easily identify what needs to be taken care of. Okay. I'm going to switch over to capital. Capital simply refers to funds you have in your checking individual retirement accounts, certificate of deposit, stocks, 401k, savings, mutual funds, etc. So you see investments and those kind of things. That's what's considered capital. Acceptable sources of this capital can be gifts from family members, down payment assistance programs, grant or matching funds type programs. Are all acceptable sources. Now, capital also refers to cash needed to close on a property. The down payment, closing costs, earnest money deposit, or EMD for short, typically is more favorable if your loan application shows that you'll have cash reserves in the bank after closing. So what that basically means is we get a little warm and fuzzy here on the lender side if after you close, you have 3 to 6 months or more in cash reserves left over in your bank after you close. That gives us a nice warm and fuzzy about you, and it helps us understand that you're going to be okay should things come up after you close. And so that's really important to us. It's important to me as well. Now, lenders will count cash reserves. Lenders will count as cash reserve any assets that are considered liquid, meaning your 401k, your stock account, mutual funds, things that you can seek out and convert into cash that you can use relatively quickly. We consider that as cash reserve. All right. In addition to the debt tool, we're also going to give you a cash flow and asset tool. So this tool, we want you to document all of your, it helps you determine your net worth. So you want to put down your car loans, your student loans, all that stuff, and take a deeper dive into this asset worksheet. And you're going to put your income here as well, and some calculations that goes along with it to help you determine what your net worth is. You want to include your name, interest rate, payments, balance, and things like that. Okay. Lenders who calculate your net worth, generally, we do that based on the past 3 months of your bank statement. So kind of moving on. It's a lot more in each of these categories, but for the sake of our conversation today, I don't have the time to go in a deeper dive because we've already been going quite some time today. Credit. Wow. So credit history says your ability to secure a loan can be hindered when your credit contains derogatory information such as late payments, collections, charge-offs, judgments, tax liens, and bankruptcy. So you have the question, I may have that, Mr. Loan Officer. What about me? So you still can purchase in certain circumstances. We just need to see what the condition or what the status of these accounts are. For example, bankruptcies, there is a lockout period for 2 years after Chapter 7, right? So after Chapter 7 bankruptcy, you won't be able to get an FHA loan after until 2 years have expired, right? Judgments have to be paid off. Tax liens, if you have a tax lien, state or federal, generally, if you make payment arrangement with that entity, get that in writing, and you make 3 consecutive monthly payments on that liability, April, May, June, July, August, September, not 3 months in 1 month, 3 consecutive months, provide that payment history and the payment arrangement, we'll include that payment in your debt to income ratio, and you can move on, provided your credit score is at least the minimum required for the loan program. Okay. More severe types of credit, such as tax lien, bankruptcies, or foreclosures, may limit your loan program or loan options for an extended period of time. We call that the lockout period. Generally, there's the lockout period is anywhere between 2 to 7 years. Okay. And as it relates to which program has what lockout period, call me and message me, reach out to me, and I will let you know. Okay. So here's kind of the range of credit scores. It goes all the way up to 850 right now, all the way down to 360. And so, this kind of, if you've pulled your credit, you can kind of see where you fall on this category. And this is kind of a demonstration of the mix of credit. What type of credit has more impact, or credit or status has more impact on your credit score than others. So payment history, 35% of your score is contributed to by the payment history, on-time payments, late payments, etc. Length of time that you've had the payment, and that kind of thing. The accounts owned, 30%. Now, if you have too many credit card balances, that could lower your scores. If you got 30 credit cards and all of them are at 50% or more, then you could be having an issue with your credit score. So the amount of credit is an issue, and it has a 30% impact. So that's a pretty important category. So we want to consider paying down some of that debt. Um, Down to 30% is kind of the sweet spot, and then credit history, of course, 15%. New credit is 10%. So adding new debt, it doesn't have as much impact as it would if that debt was seasoned, and things like that. So, and then a healthy mix at the bottom, a healthy mix, a couple of installment loans, 2 or 3 revolving accounts, things like that. No collections, public records, foreclosures, or late payment. All right. And so derogatory account and inquiry lifespan. So these are the how long these items, event items, will last and stay a part of your credit file. Judgments no longer appear on your credit reports, but lenders pull a report along with your credit report that reveal these items. So if you have judgments, you want to have a conversation about it up front. You don't want the lender to find out on the back end. It could jeopardize your loan. Collections, looking at a 7-year history on your credit report. Charge-offs are 7 years. Bankruptcies are 10 years. Um, Hard credit inquiries are 2 years. However, the inquiry has less impact after 6 months. And generally, after 6 months, you can reach out to the credit bureaus and request that they be removed. And if you haven't been searching for credit during that time, they usually can help you with that. Tax liens also no longer show up on your credit report. Again, I want to caution you, you want to have a conversation with your lender about it, because we will find out about all of these. We are required to pull certain reports that reveal this information to us to make sure that we are accounting for everything that we need to account for to make sure that we're giving you the best loan possible. We're not setting you up for failure or anything like that. Okay. Late payments, looking at 7 years. All right. Let's see how it impacts your score. All right, so now we're getting into collateral. So collateral simply is the property that you pledge as security for the debt. In the case of a mortgage, the collateral is the home that you're buying. General lenders will make loans on 1 to 4 unit residential properties. These are zoned as residential, and certain loans require you to live in one of the units, um, to be able to consider it as a primary residence as opposed to an investment property, because investment properties have different criteria. And if you're a home buyer, you don't want to be subject to real estate investment criteria when you are a home buyer. Okay. And you plan to live in the property. And so when we break down the loan programs in May is when we're going to be talking about all of the different loan programs, the minimum requirements, including renovation loan. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Single family homes, multifamily dwellings up to 4 units, condominiums, planned unit developments or PUDs, townhouses, and some types of manufactured homes. All of these are considered acceptable forms of different collateral that you can use. Requirements are a bit more stringent on condominiums, manufactured homes, and some planned unit developments. They have additional guidelines regarding these type of properties. And if you're interested in these properties, have a conversation with me so I can coach you on what those restrictions are so you can be informed before you make an offer. Here's some types of properties, different type of properties that fall in these categories. We got single family home, we have a multifamily home there, we have a condominium, we have a townhouse or PUD, planned unit development, we have manufactured home, and then we have a mobile home. Mobile home, you need a special lender for a mobile home. That's a type of manufactured home. Basically, if that home is not secured to a permanently to a concrete slab, then generally most lenders will not do it. It started out as a mobile, um, a mobile vehicle, right? So it had a title initially that at some point may have been converted to a deed, but if it has not been secured to a concrete slab, traditional lender may not be interested or willing or able to do a loan against that property. Outstanding. So lenders are concerned about the value, the condition, and the repairs required to make the property habitable. What I'm encouraging you to do to also be concerned about the condition, the value, and is it habitable, right? When searching for a home, be concerned about the value, the condition, and is it habitable? Understand that choosing the right home may take some time. Be aware that buying an older home may need some or a lot of repair. So you want to just kind of budget for that if you have to. All right. So seller has accepted your home. What now? You submitted an offer. You went out with Kathy. You found a house, and you're ready to take the next step. You saw the house. You went in, and now you signed a contract. Your contract has been accepted. Now what you want to do, even though in this climate, and I have no idea why real estate agents feel comfortable with this piece, but foregoing an inspection is a no-no. Whether you make it a contingency in your contract, that's a conversation that you have with your real estate agent. But regardless of whether you do that or not in the contract, making it subject to the outcome of the inspection or not, you definitely do not want to forego. You don't want to come up with any surprises after you have closed on your home because it's too late at that point. You want to order a whole house home inspection as soon as possible. Um, it might be even a good idea if you know someone in that space that might be able to come with you when you go house hunting as soon as possible, since there is a limited time to cancel the agreement. So in this current market, that usually the contracts won't have a provision in it that allow you to get out because of the appraisal, right? Confirm the home inspector is certified, licensed, and experienced. This helps to ensure that they will know what to look for as they go through an inspection process. A whole house inspection report will be provided to you with all the facts about the condition of the property, including the roof, heating, cooling and systems. Here we go again, back to that Rolodex, right? Of that professional Rolodex again. And so you definitely want to have them in your Rolodex before you buy. So they're going to let you know how the condition of the roof, the heating system, cooling system, electrical, any signs of water leakage, insect damage, foundation, and more, and alert you of any repairs that may be required or at least considered upfront, right? Um, you need to know about the structural condition of your home, the types of renovation and repairs you can expect to make immediately further down the road. So you want to know about this in the beginning of the process so you can make a decision whether or not you want to continue or not. And that also depends on what type of contingencies are in your contract as well. So it might be good, and I'll encourage you to take the extra step to bring someone along with you that knows about property, preferably a licensed home inspector, to have a look at the property with you. So that you can make an informed decision, or at least someone that you know that are astute about property conditions and things like that. Let's hear about that. Outstanding. Next up, the appraisal and the appraiser. Um, the Your lender will order the appraisal. Appraisals are completed by independent licensed appraisers, right? Lenders usually will have an appraisal management company that manages all of the appraisal activity. Um, Nowadays, there's no appraisal company that works for the lender. So they're all independent of the lender, and they have their own independent opinion about the value. Appraisers will determine the fair market value of the property compared to similar properties in the neighborhood. They're required to note any repairs that they see that need to be completed. These repairs may need to be completed prior to the loan closing. So, for example, if you're looking at a house and it's an FHA loan or government loan, and there's some infestation of termites, well, both VA and FHA will require those to be addressed before the loan will be able to close. And it basically, when you have these scenarios, these loan program guidelines care about you, the consumer, and they want to make sure that you're getting a property that's going to be safe for your family and structurally sound, right? And so appraisers are thoroughly trained on how to identify things that could be potentially an issue that threaten safety and integrity of the collateral. Okay. If the repairs are required, the appraiser will be required to go back out and verify that the repairs have been done. And most lenders will require the property to have a good condition rating by the appraiser if the repairs have been completed. Appraisal is no substitute for a thorough home inspection. Do not rely on the appraiser to identify anything other than obvious flaws in the property. That's not their role. That's not why they're there. They're not gonna pull out the oven or the stove and see if the gas lines are adequate, right? They're not going to do that. Their role is there to determine value, and in that process of determining value, if they see something, they're going to report on it. Outstanding. So we're wrapping up here. Next time we're gonna talk about break down all of the loan programs that are available that we offer here at New American Funding, including the minimum requirements to get a conventional loan, whether you're a first-time home buyer or a repeat buyer. What are the minimum requirements for FHA? What are minimum requirements for VA, USDA, or jumbo loan? If you're that home buyer, first-time home buyer, and you're looking to buy a house that's $1 million, 2 million, 10 million. You need to understand what's involved with being able to get a loan of that size. And then if you're self-employed, we have some unique programs here at New American Funding that will help you also become a homeowner. We have bank statement programs. We have programs that just kind of take a look at your federal tax return income. If you are a landlord, we have programs that will allow you to use your rental income if you've been getting it for the last 2 years. So there's some unique things that we can do, especially if you have excellent credit. There are unique programs specifically for doctors, programs that for those who can't show their income, but they're high net worth, or you have excellent credit. There are programs specifically for you. So we're going to talk about some of those as well. All right. So that's my time for today. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me on today. If you haven't done so already, you want to register. You want to go ahead and register for um, to receive our home buyer readiness kit. You want to definitely register. When you register, you're going to be taken to this page. First of all, you can scan that QR code right here. That QR code will take you to this page here. Put in all of your information. Even if you did not view this live and you're viewing it afterwards, fill out this form anyway, so that we can get the home buying readiness package into your hand, so that you too can be ready for home ownership. And some of the things that are included in that package come up next. So we talked about the debt worksheet where you can document all of your debt, your cash flow worksheet to help you understand what your net worth is. Are you ready to buy a home? So that's an analysis of personal allowances that you would do with your family to determine if you're ready. Needs versus wants. You document and drill down into what your must-haves are and what you cannot do without. All right. So you have that as well. And goal setting, spending plan worksheet, financial institution checklist. So when you're looking at lenders, you have this checklist available. Choosing a checking account. And so if you're a younger home buyer and you're just getting out there, you graduated from college and now you're ready to purchase a home, you're just starting out on your career and you need to choose, open up a checking account. So we help you there. Or if you want to help your children who are teens or preteens, you can help them establishing a credit checking account as well as savings account, start them out young. Sample credit reports. We provide a sample credit report for you. Credit report glossary of terms so you can kind of understand what you're looking at when you pull your credit report. Credit report checklist. So when you're sitting down with your credit report, you have this checklist in front of you and you go through it and you check it off, make sure it's right. And then we have you compare that against your red flag checklist. So if there's any red flags that are revealed as you're kind of going through your credit report, there's some steps that you're going to want to take to get that fixed. Home maintenance worksheet. And so it helps you plan out if there's any maintenance projects that may come up after you have purchased. There's a worksheet that you can have and save to your computer, and you can use that later on. Family budget. This is a fantastic tool that you can plan out your family budget. And if you don't already have one, you can create one. Planning for your future. That's just a pamphlet provided to help you in that process. In addition to that, we're offering for everyone who registers for this 3-part series today, April 21st. The second part will be on May 19th at 2:00. Third part will be on June 16th at 2:00. Anyone who registers for any one of those events will receive this home buyer readiness pack. We have real estate agents willing to offer a home warranty as well for using their service. We have title professionals who are offering discounts for title, home inspector discounts, pest inspection discounts, things like that, just to help make your home buying experience a little bit sweeter. So that's my time for the day. Hopefully, this has been a fantastic experience for you. That you've learned a lot today. And join us on May 19th, which is going to be our next session of Dream to Reality, Destination Home Ownership. First things first, we'll help you determine your home ownership plan or your plan to home ownership. You can reach me direct at 443-569-6079 is my email address is right there. You can follow me on IG or Instagram. That information is right there. A link Instagram and IG is from Dream to Reality Live. Facebook is going to be my senior mortgage advisor my senior mortgage advisor for Facebook. And so this is my time for today. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day and enjoy.